This is Larry Jordan, the host of the Digital Production Buzz. The following interview is an excerpt from a recent program. To hear the entire program, visit digitalproductionbuzz.com. Evan Williams is the CEO and co-founder of Riverview Systems Group, Inc., the 28-year-old Silicon Valley-based corporate event production company. Evan holds a master's degree in lighting design and theater technology. In addition, he's a member of IATSE and has held faculty and staff positions at Indiana University and San Jose State University. He has designed over 600 theatrical and industrial productions, though none of them super meets, and for the past 7 years served as the technical producer for the Google I/O Developers Conference. Hello, Evan. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You know, just reading your resume, Evan, makes me feel tired. What first got you hooked into production?
I'm going to have to blame my family on that. My mom was a scenic artist for Honolulu Opera, and in addition to working for NSA, my father was a director and an actor in TV and theater when I was growing up, so I kind of got sucked in early.
Yeah, you didn't stand a chance, did you?
No, certainly not.
I was looking at your website and your bio and realized that you both teach production and produce events. Which do you enjoy doing the most?
Well, you know what? I think I teach my 50-some people, and they teach me every day. I haven't done any formal classroom teaching in a number of years because I frankly just haven't had the time. But live events have been part of my blood since I was in my single digits. So I would have to say live events.
Well, the website for your company is riverview.com. That's all one word, Riverview. And if you get a chance to visit their website, you're going to discover some amazing events, one of which is the Google I/O Developer Conference. And I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that because I was watching the open to the 2015 Google I/O Developer Conference, and it featured what looked like about a 200 to 270 degree surround video screen with three-dimensional video animation on the screen. And I suddenly realized this was far more than just a couple guys on stage talking. It had morphed into spectacle and visual effects. Is that the driving force in production today?
Well, I would have to say for the most part, it really is. And, we're challenged with doing it for 4,000 people in a room and creating an atmosphere that we can translate to the web as well. Because, you have 3,500 people in the room there, but you have, hundreds of thousands of people watching it. And you need to be able to, via multi-camera setup and so on, take that to people that are watching it on their laptops, on their tablets, on their phones. And whether it's 150 people or 3,500 people, it's not just what's in the room. So you need to try to translate the spectacle, and I appreciate your comment because it looks like we made that work.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still recovering from the shock of looking at that animation, which I'm going to talk about more in a minute. But I was just thinking, you've got a live audience, you're doing live theater, but you also have a worldwide audience tuning in on the web, so you're doing live television, and there's always trade-offs. I mean, talent blocking alone is totally different from theater and television. So which group wins? Well,
everybody has to win. At least that's what the end user experience wants to be. That's what we are challenged with every year at I/O. And, of course, you do something like what you just saw, and then we're waiting to find out what next year might bring. Mm-hmm. What you don't see when you're watching the spectacle is that we almost literally have a cable TV station backstage there because there are always 4 live streams leaving the building. So besides that keynote, there are up to 12 rooms running at any one time after the keynote that are randomly streamed depending on the programming, and there are interstitial commercials so that when you're attending I/O remotely, you're feeling like you're there. And from what we've developed over the last couple of years, we've been able to do that pretty successfully from the feedback that we've gotten from the client and the feedback that we've received from unsolicited people that have told us what a fantastic job it was. They weren't able to attend and so on.
How does this work? Do you just get something from the client saying, this is what we want, make it happen?
You know what? A lot of times that's true. We do a lot of work for producing organizations as well as doing the soup to nuts production on our own. In this particular case, and we've done this since the inception of the Developers Conference with Google, we work with a company called Group X that's also based in Northern California that I work with really closely for 6 to 8 months before the event to put a fine point on, what it is the client's focus is, and sometimes that's a moving target. Google I/O is typically a program where there are new products or software updates expected, but nobody often knows what exactly those are going to be until late in the game. So we support a vision, and that's what we're here for, to take somebody's vision and realize it.
So this is very collaborative. It isn't just necessarily doing what they want and that's it.
No, it's very collaborative, and you never know when someone's going to call from within that alphabet organization and say, so I've never talked to you before, but I was referred to you, and we're with this advanced technology group, and you've probably never seen this before, and we wonder if this is possible. Whatever that may happen to be, that's what we thrive on.
And you always say, yes, it is possible.
Well, sometimes we aren't sure.
Well, but you always say yes.
Well, sure, but you're also working with people that are the smartest people in their business.
Yeah.
In this particular instance, it's film and digital video, and they're saying, well, we've just developed this and we're about to launch it, and no one's ever seen it before, but we want a live audience to experience a 3x 4K complete 360 surround of a Justin Lin trailer. And how are we going to do that? Can we do that? Well, it ended up being 32 projectors and new double-wide 4K codecs that we hadn't used before, and ultimately it was a huge success, but that's how we learn and how we push the envelope.
I was just thinking, one of the challenges that you've got is to create enough of a spectacle that people want to be wowed, at least at the very beginning. But you're working with talent who aren't performers, who are at best geeks. How do you get that whole wow factor when you've got limited talent in your talent?
Well, some of the time we're very fortunate to have people that can command an audience, and a lot of times, as you say, they're engineers. We do a lot of rehearsing, and whether it's this particular program or not, we have done we have quite a large facility, and we've hosted week-long rehearsal sessions with mock-ups of something like you saw when you were reviewing that keynote, so that pre-programming can be done. People can run through scripts, make changes, rehearse their demonstrations, which is a big part of an event like that, to try to take any of the guesswork out of it. And, we're limited with the amount of time. Streaming time is expensive, especially 1080p. And so you don't want to run half an hour over, and you have a schedule to hang on to. So we do our best to coach as much as possible.
Has technology changed the stage demos, the stage presentation more, or has technology changed the back end, which is the live streaming?
think that the ubiquity of handheld devices, whether they're tablets or phones, it's a chicken and egg thing. I mean, we wouldn't have the streaming we wouldn't have the devices that we have if we didn't have the efficiency of the streaming. And one thing leads to another, I guess, if you will. One of the most challenging components of that conference is dealing with demo devices. We have been fortunate to have gotten reviews in the past where, people from, whoever it happened, whatever tech website who was attending and reviewing, said things like, well, obviously we can't demo. We've never in the history of that developers conference done anything but live demos, which is very dangerous with new software. But we have as many as 50 live devices in that 2-hour session because you have to account for backups. You have to account for different ways of projecting an image if for some reason, for example, one of the devices locks up. And that's probably one of the biggest technological challenges. It's streaming part's easy anymore.
I wanted to get back.
Go ahead.
I want to get back to the images that you're projecting at the beginning. Those are 3D images across a vast, wide, non-HD standard video. What software are you using to create those?
Those individual sequences, if you will, were created by a number of different people. Typically, on the front end, once a space is identified, we will create a pixel map of how many pixels wide by how many pixels tall that whole thing is, and provide typically an After Effects template for the people to create in. In this particular case, it was created at a lower resolution and scaled up for the project, and then that's chopped up into pieces by the playback system to feed 38 or 40 individual stacks of projectors that the system blends together to create that one image.
Wow. So your principal development tool or your animation tool is After Effects, or do you use other software?
We use a Cinema 4D, which quite a few people use in different industries. Which we like a lot, and it's something we've used for a long time. I mean, I can't speak to what a lot of content developers use. Ultimately, they're spit out to us as native files or a set of native files that are simply QuickTime ProRes 422 LT files. In the case of that 3-4K stream thing, that was a north-south, 4 files that were north, south, east, west, each of which were over 10,000 pixels wide and 1080 tall. And we worked with a company in Northern California that developed the hardware and the software to actually ingest that file as one and spit out separate chunks, all in sync. And then we used 4 of those synchro mesh boxes to feed the projectors in the project I was suggesting. So it's all about test files and making sure that you can push that many pixels without the hardware and software choking.
It's just a toy store. I'm just listening to all the gear that's necessary to pull this off.
40 projectors.
Just a toy store.
What's the redundancy on something like that when you have like 40 projectors? I mean, normally you have what? If you have one projector, you have another one standing by in case one doesn't work. If you have 40 projectors, do you have like 5 standing by in case one of them doesn't work?
Well, as we like to say, I won't take credit for this. It's my general manager who is known to say one is none. So if you have a 40 projector blend, or in the case of the surround I was talking about, that was 32. You have what we call a double stack. So you have a redundant backup running all the time.
Holy crap!
Wow. Wow.
The budgets must be.
Technology is such that we have way, way, way less lamp failure and projector confusion than we used to have. In fact, I can't remember the last time we had a projector go down during a show.
Yeah, well,
nonetheless, it can happen.
I've produced a lot of shows in the last 15 years, and we don't have the budget for redundancy, so we rely on that one projector, and we've never had it fail. Thank God.
Evan's website is riverview.com. Evan Williams is the CEO and co-founder of the Riverview Systems Group. Evan, this has been just a delightful conversation, and we want to look at your toy store sometime when it's all parked in a garage.
Oh, boy. Yeah,
Thanks for joining us today.
Come on and visit. Thank you very much for having me.
We'll be there. Take care. Bye-bye.
If you'd like to see more videos like this one, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. To stay connected and receive updates from The Buzz, sign up for our free weekly newsletter now. Or you can learn more about us on our website. And thanks for watching The Digital Production Buzz.